Welcome to Behind the Sports Medicine Podcast, the podcast that pulls back the curtain on the evolving world of sports science. I'm Andrew Rizza, an athlete trainer with decades of experience in professional, collegiate, and high school sports.
And I'm Cameron Roth, an orthopedic surgeon and a consultant for the Chicago White Sox.
In each episode, we'll explore the real-world challenges and opportunities facing today's human performance professionals.
Our hands-on experience is transforming sports medicine and breaking barriers through innovation and teamwork. We are live in Philadelphia at the 2026 NATA convention. We are back, and we are excited to be joined by Charles Dawson from TenCate, which is a global leader in the design and development of synthetic turf systems and performance surfaces used for athletics all around the world. Charles, welcome to Behind the Sports Medicine Podcast.
Guys, thanks for having me. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah.
Great. We're excited about this. This is fantastic.
It is going to be fantastic.
So, straight to the point, why does turf matter? Why can't we just all play on grass?
Well, if you have the money, and I tell people all the time, if you've got a budget, and you've got good weather, and you've got limited use, natural grass is perfect. You know, even the best natural grass fields in the world are good for 160 to 200 hours a year in total use. Turf gives you unlimited ability to play 24/7. So it gets kids, gets them off their thumbs and on their feet. That's what we like to say.
Yeah. Tell me more about off your thumbs and on the field.
Well, you know, we've got screen time. Screen time to me is a major, I don't know if the word problem is right, but kids like screen time. And what we want to do is give them safe, cool surfaces to get on to increase their outdoor activity and just activity in general. So
That's amazing. Now, what makes your turf different from other turfs, and how is it different from 5, 10, 15 years ago?
Well, most people remember what we call Gen 2 turf, which was the old school Brillo pad. It was the Terry Bradshaw, Pittsburgh Steelers, and it was it was either a polypropylene or a nylon-based system. It was very, very abrasive, had a really high max torque. It was almost a given that you were going to have leg injuries. Going into the game, you knew, all right, somebody's going to have a foot or a leg injury. Then we went to what we call Gen 3 turf, which is what most people were most familiar with. That's the sand and rubber bases. That was one of our original patents that we brought to market to show age almost 30 years ago. And then the pivot product is our Gen 4 turf that got rid of performance infill, and it went to a fiber-based, which attacks most of the issues that we have isolated over a 30-year period on, you know, availability, injury prevention, and what's good for athletes and what's not.
Yeah.
You build recovery plans, rehab protocols, return to sport timelines, because you know outcomes don't happen by accident. Your financial life deserves the same intention. Bode is a fee-only fiduciary firm that starts with a plan. Your goals planning statement, a personalized roadmap that keeps your money aligned with where you're actually headed. Built around your life, backed by conviction. See what real planning looks like at beckbode.com. So what goes into developing a new turf, and what's the collaboration like between engineers and sports medicine professionals?
Well, first of all, the data of use that you gather over a period of time, and then you try to isolate, you know, are there issues, are there deficiencies, what are the pros and cons, and then be creative to develop off of those pros and cons based on that data. Then you put new athletes on, and you know, the way accelerometers are, everything's getting better from a testing standpoint, from the cameras to the accelerometers. So we can actually test things today that even a decade ago we could not. And what the new methods have shown us are some real deficiencies in older design that the data shows could be, you can correlate to lower leg trauma.
Now, how is it, we're on the turf, we're sitting on it, and it's probably the softest thing I've been on. And I'm an athlete trainer, practicing for 30 years. I've seen the evolution of turf from, you said, like the carpet to the next gen to the next gen to this.
Yes.
How is yours different as far as blades per square inch? Because that's the one thing I thought of as soon as I heard about it and then witnessed what it was like, was that how dense it was.
It is.
And there's no fill. There's no rubber. There's no cork. There's no whatever else sand they put in it.
Right. So what we've done is we've taken the infill out. So the Gen 3 system, which is what you're talking about, was basically made up of two components. You had a polyethylene fiber, and then you had some sort of fill system, whether it be sand, rubber, cork, sawdust, wood chips. It's unbelievable what people will throw in their fields. What we've done is taken that spacing where the infill systems, where that the infill took and we filled it with fiber. Now, what does that do? It isolates points of what we call recoil and contact release, but more importantly, it gives us consistency because the infield can't move. There's no infield to move. And just about any athlete, if you give the athlete a consistent surface that he always knows multi-directionally is going to be the same, these athletes are very savvy and they're able to perform better on a surface that is known versus unknown. Infill systems, for the most part, are highly unstable. You see a guy get tackled, the sand and the rubber flies, or a ball hits and it flies above their head. Well, if every time the infill moves, the surface changes, how are we supposed to determine the performance capability of the surface if it's never the same? The Gen 4 pivot turf gives you a multi-directional, completely consistent, no moving infill, no unbound material in the product. Just like natural grass.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What athlete safety factors are always top of mind when developing a new turf?
Okay, so when we set out to develop a new surface, the number one attribute to any athlete, guys, I don't care if they're a 5-star, 4-star, if they're an All-American, All-SEC, All-NFL, is availability. So when we develop a surface, we're looking for technology that increases the availability of the player, decreases the fatigue level, and then increases the recovery level. What we've learned about our infill systems is infill systems have a great deal of recoil. So you guys think about something that's resilient. Anytime something compresses, that energy has to return at some point. So when an athlete hits an infill system and compresses the infill, unnaturally, they're getting somewhere between 8 and 20 times what we call negative energy return up the athlete's body. That's where your high fatigue comes in. That's where that correlates with lower leg trauma. So we are trying to create systems that have no recoil. Why? Because perfect natural grass has no recoil. We're trying to create systems that has perfect contact release. Why? Because natural grass has contact release. A lot of our high infill systems have tremendous recoil, which is a negative, and lacks contact release.
You talked about lower extremity trauma.
Yep.
What are you seeing as far as reduction rates from the Gen 3 to
the Gen 4? So the NFL actually sponsored a study along with FIFA, and it was high torque versus low torque fields. Now, to define a high torque field, you're talking about a high rubber or high infill system is considered a high torque field per the NFL and FIFA. Natural grass is considered a low torque field, and the pivot turf mimics the torque level of natural grass. So those would be the same. What the NFL said is in 1,000 foot impacts on a low torque field, you have about a 4.2. There's 4.2 chances of lower leg trauma every 1,000 foot impacts. If you go to high rubber, it goes up almost 500% to over 19. So this is data that we know. Now, the frustrating part from a design group like us is we know this, yet the industry is still very, very slow to change. We want low torque, not high torque. And some of the give and take on your low torque versus high torque is the issue. A low torque field, the cleat releases instead of the knee. We want the field to release. Some people will call it, the field is slipperier. Yes, by design. What the NFL said is slipping is good. If the foot releases, that means it takes the body out of a torque, a high torque situation. So we want low torque. And we finally have that acknowledged through third-party testing, not high torque. All of our infill systems are incredibly high torque systems. Now, players seem to like it because the grip can be better, but it's much, much more damaging to the lower extremity with a much higher rate of lower leg trauma.
Does footwear matter?
Footwear matters, of course. So in that same study, they talk about on a low torque field, you can go to a higher torque cleat. On a high torque field, you want to go to a very low torque cleat. So we do not want high torque. The amount of force, these athletes are unbelievable. You guys know what these guys look like. And the amount of force on their body and the soreness from the pressure and the negative energy return is pretty substantial.
This might be tough to measure, but have you seen a reduction in concussions in football?
Well, that's harder to measure because about 80% from what we have studied, concussions are head-to-head. You know, you're talking about 2 out of 10 that are ground. But here's what we anticipate, even though the data pool is not where we need it to be. Concussions are also caused by whiplash, okay? And it's the same recoil impact that we're talking about. When you hit something that is resilient and your head goes in it and the energy returns, you have a higher tendency to be concussed, okay? So what the Gen 4 turf does by getting rid of the performance infill is when the energy hits the surface, you want it to go this way, not back into the athlete. So by getting rid of the recoil, there's no energy return from the surface. The surface is called plastic. That's an engineering term that means it maintains form and it doesn't kick back, so to speak, in a very general way to explain that. So we anticipate much lower leg trauma because of contact release and because of lack of recoil, and potentially lower ground to head concussions because of the recoil effect.
Now, how does this turf play in comparison to the Gen 3 with ball trajectory? So soccer balls, lacrosse balls, field hockey balls.
So round ball sports do not like infill. Why? Because infills are inconsistent. You hit one ground ball here, the infill moves, you hit it there again, it moves completely different. So what determines ball trajectory, ball speed, ball roll, ball hop, secondary, tertiary hops is the infill. Well, there is no infield. So what is this? This is a FIFA certified product. It is the best round ball from a baseball, softball standpoint that we've ever measured because of consistency. And again, we were talking earlier, when you give an athlete consistency, it's easy for them to perform. Infield is not consistent typically.
Yeah, I've noticed that. It's like a rocky road.
It is.
And kids will talk about, or athletes will talk about, that field's got a dead spot over there. I felt like I couldn't get my footing. The ball, like you said, just shoots to a different direction. They're anticipated to go one way, it goes another way.
And to your point on the concussions, right now the Gen 3 turf relies on the resilient infield for impact. All right, what happens when that's gone? When you play between the 40s and there's a bunch of tackles and the infield's gone, how do I know that my attenuation is the same as it was before the game? On the Gen 4 product pivot, it never changes because we do not rely on the infield for resiliency.
What professional stadiums or high-level college sports are actually using this product?
So it's the Premier League. It always starts with FIFA. All of our testing protocols and everything start with FIFA. And us being a global manufacturer, we have partnerships all over Europe, from Eindhoven to Arsenal. So all of their practice fields, now they exclusively play on natural grass, as we're seeing in the FIFA. All of their practice fields have gone to pivot. Our coming partners, the Patriots indoor, it's about to go into Cowboys indoor. It's at Missouri State. It's at West Point Army. It's at Rice. It's at Western Carolina. It's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Any high school, private schools?
About
premier
500.
schools?
About 500.
Okay.
So we brought this to market in 2024, and we thought, hey, we're going to do 30 fields. Now, TenCate builds about 1,100 fields a year. We're the largest company in the world in sports construction. And we thought, hey, in 2024, let's do 25 fields. Let's bring this to market. Let's introduce it. We had all of our Premier League data, and we did 300 fields globally the first year.
Wow.
When people see it, it makes sense.
Yeah.
And the rate of adoption has been much, much higher than we anticipated.
What's the life expectancy of this field compared
About
to Gen 3?
50% longer than the other ones. So the original Gen 3 turf had an 8-year warranty. This has a 12-year warranty. And indoor has a 15-year warranty because UV is your enemy more so than play.
So how are you helping communities, maybe in urban areas where there's not a lot of grass, or high UV areas, such as where I live in Arizona, when there's not a lot of water? How does this contribute to getting people on the field? And also, how does it contribute to environmental sustainability?
Okay, couple ways. One, our Playing for Keeps Association is building fields in underutilized areas or underserved areas. We've done a few partnerships with some different pro teams, did one in Oakland. But from an environmental standpoint of sustainability, we're going to a one product. We do not add PFAS. I don't know if that's a term that you guys have heard, but that's a term that's come up environmentally. And also, when you don't have the infill, it's an easier step to recycling. Now, from an Arizona standpoint, remember, how do you get kids outside? It's hot in Arizona. Okay.
It's very hot in Arizona.
This turf's about 20, this generation turf's about 20 or 30 degrees cooler because we don't have the infill that traps the heat at the surface. The black rubber exacerbates heat. It's also an insulator that traps heat at the surface. There is none. So it's a cooler surface, cooler, longer lasting surface.
That's great because we're in the Northeast and our turf field, I go to the grass field, it's 90 out, grass field's 90. Turf field can run 15 to 20 degrees hotter, and I've seen it even hotter than that if it's been sunny and hot for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah, and the beauty also on the opposite side of that is when you broom or plow snow off this field, there is no infill to take with it. So we were talking to the guys at West Point at Army, and they had the infill systems before we switched it out. And his biggest complaint was, I will plow the field, I will take the snow up to the parking lot, I will let the snow melt, I will scoop the infill back up in the parking lot and take it and put it back in the field. Now think about that, the contamination or the rocks or the stuff, who knows where it's going.
Right.
Also from your point on sustainability, from a downstream water standpoint, we have no infill to get into downstream runoff. So it's a tremendous environmental, but also performance and longevity system.
What's the cost association with if you're taking a Gen 3 field out and putting this field in? What does that look like for us? I'll say a secondary school system versus a collegiate or pro team that really has it dispensable.
So a Gen 4 field is going to cost about 12 to 15% more than a Gen 3 field. Now, what are you getting for the 12 to 15% more? One, you're getting at least 50% longer life. The maintenance on this surface, guys, is you blow it off if you get leaves or pine straw or something on it. There's no adding or redistributing infill. There's no infill in your socks, your jocks, your helmets, mom's washing machine, the minivan. All of that goes away. You literally just blow the turf off. So it is slightly more expensive based on the amount of fiber you were talking about earlier. It's for every single fiber in a field that you guys are used to seeing in the same square inch, there's about 8 times as much fiber in this product.
Wow.
Yeah. Which also gives us our wear capabilities.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing.
It really is. How about for city planning purposes? So if you're trying to create a green space in a city,
Yes.
but there's no either infrastructure to have grass or trees, has this ever been utilized just to create a dog park or a walking area for people just so they can be outside and be active?
Sure. Our synthetic grass warehouse brand is the largest leisure and outdoor service in the country, and they do millions and millions of square feet of exactly what you said, from dog parks to walking areas to playgrounds, all of that stuff. Now, why is Gen 4 pivot turf superior to that? Is because one, of the maintenance, there's no infill. Two, it's cooler. Little kids like to sit down on the playground or sit down under the slide when they hit the ground. So this stuff is cooler, and there's no infill to carry all over the school, for example, or throughout the community. So it's got some real positives.
So I have a small small patch of turf in my backyard next to my pool. It's kind of crappy, but for the next house, turf is huge in Arizona.
Huge in Arizona.
Huge.
No water, it's green all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, we might be in touch.
we've got a synthetic grass warehouse right there in Phoenix. So
I'm sure you do.
You're good to go.
Visit.
You're good to go.
Don't tell Gracie, because Gracie will be over there today.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
That's awesome. All right, we do the lightning round with just quick. It's like one answer.
All right.
One question, quick answer.
I will try.
All right.
Innovation in sports medicine technology that excites you the most.
Increasing the availability of players on the surface. That's, to me, the most important thing that we can do, period.
Love it. All right. Favorite city you travel to for work?
Indianapolis.
Why?
Really?
Why?
I like St. Elmo's, and I like the downtown area, and I like Chattanooga too.
Right.
Chattanooga's a cool little downtown area too.
Like it.
What's a myth about natural grass or turf or playing surfaces you'd want to eliminate?
That natural grass is better. That's a complete myth. Natural grass, in many cases, is the most inconsistent surface you can play on due to moisture content.
Gosh,
Good answer.
Natural grass gets a pass a lot of times. You guys remember the 2023 Super Bowl?
Yeah.
All right, what happened to that? That was in headlines in one day, and then it disappeared all of a sudden. If that would have been artificial turf, it would still be in the headlines.
Yeah, right.
But the correct artificial turf, not any artificial turf.
Yes, correct. The correct.
The correct.
This turf.
This turf.
This
Yes.
turf.
So since we're at the NATA, how can athletic trainers who are listening cooperate and become better partners with TenCate?
Well, we want data. We want full disclosure on what these guys are seeing on the field and how it correlates to the performance of their player. And again, the number one word for us guys is availability. And then the number 2 and 3 words after availability are fatigue and recovery. You know, these guys are under immense pressure to make sure that guy's ready to go on Saturday or Sunday or Friday night. Our goal as a designer and a manufacturer is to make availability great again.
Yep. Last one.
Make availability great again.
Coffee or tea?
Oh, coffee.
Bullshit question.
The future of turf technology is?
I think we're standing on it from a recoil and contact release standpoint. And again, it comes down, I'm gonna keep parroting it. It's availability. How do we get players on the field and keep them on the field longer?
Love it.
Appreciate your time.
Yes, sir. Thank
Charles
you guys.
from TenCate.
Charles, thank you, man.
I appreciate you guys. Thanks for
Appreciate
having
it.
me.
It's awesome.
Thank you
Thanks
guys.
again.
Thanks,
you, man.
You got it.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Sports Medicine Podcast. Follow us on social media and check out our website.
The information shared on this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. Please consult a licensed healthcare provider for guidance related to your specific situation. We'll see you next week.